Yeah, if he gets back to the way he was playing last year, absolutely. I mean, look, Oklahoma City is the favorite, let's be honest. But if you're going to beat Oklahoma City, you have to have size and depth and star power, and the Mavericks will have that. And I can't wait to watch Cooper Flagg play with this team and how he might impact them. Absolutely, the Mavericks could consider themselves that if Kyrie gets healthy.
Bobby, you agree?
I do. I mean, certainly Kyrie is the big X factor here, but I look at their depth. I mean, when you go P.J. Washington or Najee Marshall or Caleb Martin and either Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively off the bench, that is a strong depth. And as we saw in the playoffs and the finals, depth matters.
Bontemps, would you believe it if I said the Nuggets have regressed this offseason?
I don't know if I'd go as far to say as they've regressed, but I also am not sure they have progressed. You know, there was a lot of talk about them getting Cam Johnson. Obviously, he has been with the Brooklyn Nets the last couple of years. He basically is the same player, though, as Michael Porter Jr., the player they traded him for. However, he makes a ton less money, so the Kroenkes saved a lot of luxury tax payments, but that doesn't really help on the court. Then the Nuggets went out and got several bench players yesterday. Got Jonas Valanciunas, Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown. Those guys are all okay. I just don't know if they're doing enough to close the gap with the Thunder.
McMahon, you agree about the Nuggets?
I never agree with Bontemps on hardly anything. Listen, this is the best bench of the Joker era. Now, that's faint praise. It's kind of like saying I'm the most charming member of the Hoop Collective, but it's a fact. The Nuggets needed depth. We all hammered on them. You got to get deeper. You got to get deeper. You got to get deeper. Valanciunas is by far the best backup they've had for Joker. Hopefully will no longer just bleed points when Joker's resting. Tim Hardaway Jr. just had a really good year in Detroit. He's a shooter off the bench. Bruce Brown was a huge piece of their championship puzzle. Now, Denver Bruce Brown is a different beast than Bruce Brown anywhere else. But again, a team that desperately needed depth managed to go out and do that. And Cam Johnson is at least a lateral move for Michael Porter Jr., if not an upgrade. He's more versatile on both ends of the floor. The Nuggets pushed the Thunder to 7 games and definitely got better this offseason.
Wendy, what do you think about Denver's offseason?
Well, they took to their new front office, Ben Tenzer and John Wallace, who've been on the job just a few days, and they said, here's what you need to do. You got to get Jokic a backup. You got to get David Adelman, the new head coach, a couple more options than you gave Michael Malone. And by the way, we don't really want to pay the luxury tax if you cut a bunch of money. All right, we'll see you in the fall. And they've done that. They have gotten some options. They have reduced their payroll, and they've gotten Jokic a backup. Now, am I waking up as the Oklahoma City Thunder today going, oh, my God, we're in trouble? I am not, but they have addressed some needs while reducing payroll. That is not simple, and I think Jokic will be happy to have any new set of eyes, a new set of bodies to help him out this season.
All right, one more Western Conference team to hit here. Bobby, would you believe the Rockets are now the biggest threat to Oklahoma City in the West?
I would, and I believe that after they traded for Kevin Durant. And then what they've also done here is they've added Dorian Finney-Smith to try to replace Dylan Brooks, and they added a third center in Clint Capella. They already have Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun. So, yes, Houston certainly is, I would say, the threat to Oklahoma City in the Western Conference.
Durant trade is another thing that happened within the last 10 days in the NBA. It's been a pretty significant week and a half. Thunder still clear favorites to win the West, but there are 9 teams within 20-1 odds of them. As you can see here, teams like Houston and Denver have completely revamped their rosters, while other teams like the Timberwolves, Clippers, Mavericks have all made changes as well. So the West is jumbled. McMahon, I know you said you think the Nuggets have improved a ton this offseason. Who else has impressed you out West with their moves since the season ended?
I mean, I definitely agree with Bobby on the Rockets. They went from a hopefully to a Hall of Famer as far as their go-to guy, moving Jalen Green, getting in Kevin Durant, who is still scoring at an elite level. And then they really did that while also leaning even further into their big, nasty, tough, physical, bully ball type of play. With Capella, if they want to play 2 bigs, whether Steven Adams needs to rest or not, they can do that. That's something that was very effective for them down the stretch. Durant's bigger than Green. Dorian Finney-Smith's bigger than Dylan Brooks. This is going to be one of the toughest teams, one of the best defensive teams, one of the best rebounding teams. They had a glaring lack of a go-to guy. Enter Kevin Durant. The Rockets absolutely, to me, are the biggest threat to the Thunder in the West.
They're obviously going for it. A lot of teams are chasing Oklahoma City. So, Bontemps, if I said looking at everything that's changed so far, next year in the West, are you taking Oklahoma City or the Field to win it?
I'm taking the Thunder. I still like the Thunder to be the champions next year. They have the youngest team, second youngest team to win the title in the last 50 years. They've got Alexander, who they locked up to a massive contract extension yesterday. They're going to get Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren locked up to contract extensions almost certainly in the coming weeks. They are a young, deep team that's only going to get better coming through this championship experience this year. Jalen Williams had a great run through the playoffs, and he was dealing with a wrist injury he had surgery on while scoring 40 points in NBA Finals games. So, yes, these other teams are really good. Yes, there's going to be a lot of challengers to Oklahoma City, but for the foreseeable future, I'm taking the Thunder and feeling pretty good about it.
Bobby, two teams, as we've discussed, West contenders that I have not heard anybody say, Lakers and Warriors. Both teams with huge Hall of Fame caliber stars nearing the ends of their careers. Is either one of them anywhere near title contention right now?
I don't. And how I look at both teams is if you were a marathon runner and you had Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler on your roster, you got to the mile marker number 6 in the lead. And then all of a sudden, here comes Denver and here comes Oklahoma City and Dallas and the Clippers and Minnesota. And they basically lapped the field. And it's no fault to themselves. They just didn't have any big moves this offseason because they already made those big moves here. So I look at those other teams that we just mentioned here, kind of lapping where the Lakers and the Warriors are right now.
Yeah, that's rough. As somebody who ran marathons when he was younger, I know you got to get used to the concept of people running past you, but it still doesn't always feel great. Wendy, do you agree about the Lakers and the Warriors?
Yeah, the Lakers don't have a starting center yet. In fact, while we're at it, they don't have a backup center. Now, there's a couple of free agents on the market like DeAndre Ayton and Al Horford. They're in on them. The Lakers are having conversations about trading for a backup center. But they don't even have their starting lineup together yet. And I'm looking at Houston, and I'm looking at Dallas, and I'm looking at Oklahoma City, and I'm seeing a 10-man rotations built out totally ready to go. So I would say this. The big X factor is Luka Doncic. If Luka Doncic reports to the Lakers and plays an MVP season, which, frankly, we've been expecting him to win the MVP for 2 or 3 years now, then that's a game-changing situation because you still have LeBron James, who at the moment is ready to go for the Lakers.